Excellent. Now that we have Nessus operative, we can use our Metasploitable machine so we can test it. We can run a scan on this machine. Following the previous videos, we just got the IP address of this Metasploitable machine, so we are ready to create a new scan. A recommendation for us for SAFETAG, running basic network scans are more than enough for what we want to do. So we can just click here and we'll have a small wizard that will guide us on this. We can put a name to this. We need to put a name to each scan we do. So I can say, I don't know, SAFETAG test Metasploitable. Exploitable, super migrated, Metasploitable, better. You can add a description, and you can add a folder to put this scan. Is normal given that we are using the essential license and we don't have a lot of machines we can scan. That just using my scans folder like this, like the home, and then we just put here the targets. As I told you in the previous video, we can use here IP addresses, IP ranges, we can use even domain names. For this example, we can just point this to one IP address, that is the one for the Metasploitable machine, like this. So that's it. We can start poking with all of the settings and things we can do. However, this is more than enough. Okay, we can just save this scan, and then when we are back in the list, we will see the recently created scan here. Important, this hasn't started. This is waiting for us to hit play here to launch that scan, and there the process will start. You will see this icon here, and then you can wait until this scan is ready. It will depend on the complexity of the thing, the server, the computer that we are scanning, how much time this will take. Okay. And one interesting thing you can do here is while the scan is being performed, is that you can just click the actual scan and you can see like the progress. Here you can see, depending if you have one or more devices as part of the scope of this scan, you would see a list here of targets, and you will see this graph here and also this other one. These and these are the same at this moment because it's one machine, only one machine, the Metasploitable one. However, here you will see the aggregation of more machines if you are scanning more than one device, and here you are seeing the different vulnerabilities and things that this scan is found, disaggregated by severity. Okay, you can also click here and you can see the list of the actual vulnerabilities and the severity of each one of them. There are a lot, and this is expected to have a lot of them just to be informational. Probably we won't need to do anything in particular with this. However, it doesn't hurt if to have them in the report, or just to take a look at those in case you find something that is just information for to the facts of this scan, but it could be valuable information for you as an auditor to understand better the technologies that this server or computer is using, etc. Recommendation, you can see this. However, it's better to wait for the scan to be completed, because otherwise you will need to be constantly checking and checking and checking. So we're going to give it more minutes so the scan is finished. So here we don't see running, but completed or similar, depending on the regional configuration of this tool. And that's it. Let's wait some minutes. And here we have it. 20 minutes, 21 minutes according to this. Took this scan, and then we have here we have the results. Okay, here we can say that 12 vulnerabilities are critical, 5 are high, medium, 25. Remember, Metasploitable is a machine that is on purpose designed to be vulnerable, so this shouldn't be surprising for any of us. We should expect to see a lot of vulnerabilities here. Clicking, then we have the list of the actual vulnerabilities that were detected by the scan. And one of the magic things about this is that you can click any of those. For instance, the first one, or the third one, probably, VNC server password. The password for a VNC server is password. So if we click, probably we will find a description for each one of the vulnerabilities. And something I really like is that it is already offering a solution. In this case, well, it's a very simple vulnerability. Change the password so it's not password, and you should be in a better position to mitigate this vulnerability. And there might be other complex things, like for instance, bind shell backdoor detection is also critical. And probably the the solutions, or the actual problem, the actual vulnerability is even more complex to explain. So one thing that is very important here is that there will be, it's not that there might be, no, there will be a lot of cases where we don't have any clue of the technologies involved in these vulnerabilities. So this will require from us like more research. Like if, for instance, there is an SQL database manager that we never heard about in the past, and we have vulnerabilities there, it would be interesting to use this as a learning opportunity. So we start looking in the internet about those technologies and all of that. So that will happen. So again, as with many other things in this training, don't feel overwhelmed, because there are things that by design or is normal, that we won't know everything we are here running onto. Yes, and this for all that. For instance, uh, everything should have some description of how that works, or what is the explain the description of that vulnerability, and also some solutions. And in some cases, we will have even links that you can use to understand better the problem, no, the vulnerability, the technology, and even in some cases the solution, how to implement the solution. Well, my internet is not very good today. Excellent. And here we can have this for many of these vulnerabilities, and so on. Again, there will be many informative notifications here. You decide if those are important or not. But here you will have a very good landscape of what's going on with that target server or that target computer, etc. Another thing that could be very cool to have is to export these reports. So you can poke with the options. They are changing this every now and then. And for instance, here, report, not export, report. You can here select the format. So PDF could be nice, because this is a very recurrent, at least for me, attachment to the actual audit, SAFETAG audit report, especially when organizations, they have IT departments or IT teams, or one IT person that might benefit of having more detailed technical insights. I can just generate a PDF of these scans and send that to this person. And well, you are also encouraged to play with these options. Um, and let's just have everything here by default and generate the report to take a look on how this PDF will look. And after a couple of minutes that we have it, it will open automatically in Firefox in this case, and we will have everything here. the same breakdown by severity. The list of vulnerabilities is a resume version of all of it, and probably we will be able also to generate more detailed reports. And to, for instance, generate the detailed version of this report with all of the vulnerabilities. In case you want to give that level of detail, you can just, again, launch the report command, PDF or HTML, whatever format you feel more comfortable with, and detail vulnerability by host. By plugin, it's also possible. However, the plugins are more like a Nessus thing, and probably will be less available, especially if you have many hosts. So having everything separated by computer slash server will be probably more useful for us. And effectively, we will have here our detailed report. Okay, same breakdown. However, instead of just a brief list with the severity and a basic name, we will have a very, very, very detailed account of every vulnerability that was found. So this is good because also we can have the solutions here that could be useful for our beneficiaries to have. However, maybe this is too detailed. Okay, for some, just take a look for this machine again with many vulnerabilities on purpose. For one host, the report will have 241 pages. It's a lot. So please be sure of which version of these reports are you attaching and why. And in case you are attaching one like this, like a detailed version, that again is still very useful, especially for those who talk in IT. It is very good to show this to them and telling them like, don't be overwhelmed about the extension of this, but at least if you find something interesting, you might want to take a look in the solutions. However, also we are expecting that, for instance, if this is very, very important, this solution should be in our recommendation list in our SAFETAG audit report. Maybe a couple of last comments before moving on and let you like dive into and play with all of these results and commands, etc. Is that first, don't trust blindly whatever this tool is telling you, because as with many automated tools, this might make mistakes. There may be false positives here. So if you see something really critical that might impact very much the organization or some of the assets that were scanned, please try to check for yourself. Please read the detail page to make sure that this is actually happening, that this is actually a technology that the organization is operating, and don't trust blindly. Basically, these reports. Also, this is designed to catch as much as it can. So sometimes it will catch things that makes a lot of noise. Okay, so usually there are many, especially for the low severity ones, that are not that interesting for the organization. Then you have as an option to include all of these into your report, or report all of these as vulnerabilities in your report. However, that may be a lot for the organization, and so probably prioritizing what things from these reports, from these tools, are we taking to our report might be wiser, probably, because we can, instead of sharing 60 vulnerabilities, we can share probably the 10 that are more relevant for the organization, even less. And which ones, up to you. One option is to concentrate in those that are critical high. In my case, I really like to see more than that. I see critical, I see high, I see medium, I see even the low ones, but I try to judge which ones are affecting most precious assets for the organization, what are the things that they can solve easily, and other factors that might make this prioritization or selection better for the organization. However, it's very usual that if you have something critical in a web server or in a computer, a critical computer, you will want to somehow to make sure that this is included in the final report, because if it's critical, I will leave with this video a link to learn more about the scoring system. But what's a vulnerability is critical, it means that it can be exploited remotely. It can be might give a very powerful control of the device, etc., etc. So probably if something is critical and it's true, it worth it to review it and to solve it. Okay, but for now, I believe this is more than enough for Nessus. Now you know how to use Nessus, you know how to start your scans, and you can play. As always, if you are running this against a website or against a computer from another person, please ask for permission, because these scans are, among other things, trying to send a lot of information to these targets. Even some hosting companies can take that as an attack, and can block your IP or can trigger some other kind of protections. So be careful, ask for permission, and probably it would be good as the first devices to play with your own devices, with your own computer. You can scan from Kali your host computer if you know the IP address, and all of that. I mean, there is a lot of potential here to learn a lot about vulnerabilities, about how this tool is working. And yeah, that's the invitation.